This is still question 8 in your notes on limiting reactants. This is letter C on there. I'll probably just do the first one, but here's our reaction. It wants to know the limiting reactant, so I'm telling you that you have this many moles of CS2, this many moles of O2. The theoretical yield of product. So remember, theoretical yield is, and I think it wants to know of SO2, yeah. Theoretical yield would be how much you should get, not necessarily how much you actually got. That's your actual yield. So theoretical would be what you should get from stoichiometry, and then how much excess reactant would be remaining after the reaction. Usually it would ask you amount of excess in grams. In this case, maybe I'd ask you in moles, since it gives you these in moles, but we can figure it out either way. So first thing, let's figure out our limiting reactant. And I think we can just do this by looking at it. Look at the ratio that we need. Oxygen needs to be 3 times bigger than CS2. So we can kind of look here and go, well, is this 3 times bigger than that? This times 3 is 3.6. So that is more than 3 times bigger. So that means this must be excess. It's more than 3 times larger. So that's our excess. That's our limiting reactant in that case. So next question would be, what is our theoretical yield of that? And usually I always want that in grams. So do not start with your thing that's in excess ever for stoichiometry. Always use your limiting. So we'll say we have 1.2 moles of CS2. Our ratio is for every 1 mole of CS2, there's 2 moles of SO2. I could have asked you for either product, just asking you for this one. And a mole of SO2 is 64 grams. So we got 154 grams of 3 sig figs. So that would be theoretically how much SO2 should be produced from the reaction. It's not necessarily how much you'd actually get in the reaction, but from these two things, that's how much you should get. Next part then, what is the amount of excess left over? So how much of this excess is left over? We can do it in moles and then convert it to grams. So we need to figure out, first of all, how much O2 was used. Well, I'm going to start with 1.2 moles of CS2 because I know all of that was used. That's my limiting reactant. And let's go, remember stoichiometry always tells you how much was used or produced. So we're going to do our mole ratio. For every 1 mole of CS2, there's 3 moles of O2. So again, that tells us the amount of oxygen that was used in the reaction from our limiting reactant. Well, there were 3.83 moles available, so our excess there would be 3.83 minus 3.6 would be that much extra O2. Usually I would do that in grams, but we could just multiply it by 32 to get that into grams. So again, always go from your limiting to your thing that's in excess and figure out how much was used, subtract from how much was available. Letter B on that, I will tell you that the limiting reactant was the CS2. You'd get 177 grams of SO2, and I had 12.5 grams of excess O2.